Hello everyone, I am back again to show you another journal flip through. This one is also has become a favorite. I love the way this turned out in the end. It was kind of this has been in the works for a long time actually, and I just was able to finish it with some of the ephemera that I made in the challenge from Dear Julie this last month. But so yeah, I was able to finish it and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. It is a recycled hardcover book cover, and I have done, well, let me tell you the size. So this is also kind of a large one. It's 9¼ tall by 6¼ wide, and it doesn't have a big spine. It's 2 signatures. It has a 1-inch spine and 98 pages. So it's not a thick book, but it's pretty big as far as the surface goes. Then I've created this beautiful dangle for the spine because I did not do the little beaded elastic over here. So I dressed it up over here on the spine instead, and I just kind of like the way this turned out. There's a little key, there's a flower, here's another little, a couple of beaded dangles, and then another pretty charm and wooden charm, and then a 2, a number, and yeah, I just kind of like the way that looks. But one of the things I like about this book is the spine. The cover is just beautiful. It is kind of this linen book cloth, which I really like. It's kind of coated, so it could be washed. But it has this linen pattern, a contrasting pattern, and I really like that. And so I covered the spine with some paint and stamping to kind of match the rest of the cover. So I like the way that turned out. I've done a hair tie closure with this pretty enlarged button, and then just done this creative collage. I like the way it looks. So let's go inside. This, as I say, it has 2 signatures, 98 pages. It has 22 pockets and tucks and 28 pieces of ephemera. So I've created, to cover up the thread from the button, I just created this little side collage with a book plate here for a name. And this initial tuck it's just collaged with, different papers embossed and some washi tape and lace. This is a vintage notebook paper, and I've just woven some fiber through the edge there. So here's a pocket on this side. Just one of the embossed paint chips. I've sanded it on the back so it can be written on. And this is just a little vintage note paper of some kind. It has some age and patina on it. And then it's just a vintage page from an address book. Put a little bit more of that fiber up there at the top. This is vintage manuscript paper. I've just done this. I hand dyed this sari silk to match this pattern, pretty pattern paper, and then there is this little butterfly charm here. So this is a little bit brighter colors than I sometimes do. I had this paper in my stash, and that's kind of the colors that I am going for here. It was part of a paper pad. These were in the paper pad. This beautiful vintage book page, and a little lace cluster up here. This is from a needlework magazine, and I just loved the way the colors matched. This is a little corner pocket here. A couple of vintage ephemera pieces. This is some antique lace that I've just put through those two holes. Some pretty designer paper. This is just a cluster, kind of collage. It's not a tuck spot this time, but this is a piece of that just really amazing tatted lace, antique, hand done. They've tatted it right into the edge of that linen. And so yeah, I've just put that on the edge of this paper. Some more antique lace, just a little bit of an embellishment here. Just some dyed journal paper, coffee dyed. Stick that in there. A little tuck spot. And some vintage note paper here. And this is just a really pretty, from a notepad, but I just like the way that looks. And so I've included that in here. This is just a little beaded paper clip, and I just tied this this piece of fabric on there. I think that actually came to me in a Happy Mail of some kind, or a swap. Anyway, they've just put a couple of beaded beads onto that circular paper clip. I really like that idea. This is some vintage ledger. One of those time check cards, and a Rolodex card for a tuck. This is just a handmade journal card, and some recipes out of a vintage magazine, and just some vintage note paper. This is a really pretty wallpaper border, and the colors just matched perfectly with this paper pad. So yeah, I just created this pocket with that, and just put a piece of coffee dyed paper in there to journal on. Okay, this is some local stationery that was printed. I found a pad of it in my favorite thrift store, and this is the mountains that are to the west of us, the Sandia Mountains. I'm sure it is. It looks just like them, and very close to where I live. So yeah, that reminds me of my landscape here, and so I have used that on this. This is a tuck, but it's kind of a surprise pocket. So I've made this pocket and then stamped on this vintage index card. Fits down in there, but when it's closed, it just kind of looks like just a regular tuck. This is one of Dear Julie Julie's digitals, and it's just this beautiful lace printed, and I've just grunged it up a little and included that as a journal paper. This is just some coffee dye, and there's another very bright piece. So it's it's not really boho, but it's just a bright vintage. Yeah, and this is just a little cluster decoration. I did a video on this pocket, actually. It's like a triple tuck pocket, a peekaboo pocket. I think of it as a Teresa LaFrance pocket because that's the journaler who I saw use it a long time ago, for when I first started journaling. Anyway, I will try to link the video to that one as well. This video will have several links if you're interested in seeing how this journal was made. Here is some of that really beautiful antique hand done lace, and I've used a book page pocket here. This is one that I made for the challenge last month with some texture paste, and this is some antique ledger on a journal card. I'll just put that in the pocket, and then this is an embellished guest check. I'll just slide that behind. This is another paper from an antique magazine, needlework magazine, and I've just put some yarn through these holes. Yeah, here's the other part of that page. This is belly band with some avocado dyed paper. And yeah, I'll give you a little close-up of that. I really liked the way that turned out. This is another wallpaper border, and I've just embossed that and put it here at the top in a tuck. This is just a little notepad and some dyed designer paper. This fits up in there. Here's a little recycled junk mail envelope. I hand dyed it and then just did a little bit of stenciling and smushing, and then made this tag to go right here with this bow that matches this paper over here. This is one of the elements that I made last month in the challenge, and I've put this card in here. Here is an altered envelope and another one of the elements from the challenge last month. So it's kind of nice, you know, to have things pre-made in your stash, and then you can kind of stuff the journal in it. It goes a little faster. The final page is a pocket and a large journal card that fits in there. And the last embellishment is one of these little, just a little charm, tiny tag charm, and then the end that is splattered, you know, with coffee. So yeah, that's this journal. I am going to list this as the vintage state music journal. It will be on Etsy as well, as the next couple journals will be. Thanks for your patience in viewing all of these flip throughs. I think I'm just gonna post them kind of one right after another, maybe even all in a couple of days. We'll see. So you're just gonna get bombarded with this. Thanks for your patience and your time. We'll see you again.